hello, and welcome to a very special episode of the Faultline Podcast. I'm Tommy Flanagan, the editor of Faultline, the weekly B2B publication that's all about dissecting disruption in media and entertainment. And today I'm also your podcast host. So why is this episode special? Well, for two reasons. First of all, we're bringing in some major firepower with our guests from Dolby and MainConcept, two companies pushing boundaries in media technology. And second, we're taking a slight detour from our usual video-centric discussions to explore something that often flies under the radar, which is the world of audio technology. And today we're diving into the new Dolby Digital Plus Pro plugins, a tongue twister which is based on the SDK jointly developed by Dolby and MainConcept. These plugins were released just before IBC 2024, and effectively they allow you to process Dolby Digital and Dolby Digital Plus audio tech directly in an open source FFmpeg workflow. So we'll unpack how these plugins streamline production and boost audio quality for broadcast and streaming professionals. But let's not waste any more time on this intro, and I'll get our guests to introduce themselves now. So James, who are you and why are you here?
Hi, so my name's James Cowdery. I am a architect, an audio broadcast architect at Dolby. I've worked for Dolby for a long time. I joined Dolby back in 2004 and helped kick off the professional licensing business. So we were just getting going with licensing our encoders into third-party products at that point. And so I'd kind of joined as an engineer and then later as a manager of the group providing those technologies. And we provided it to various kind of third-party, either hardware vendors or software vendors, including MainConcept. So I've worked with MainConcept quite a bit over the years, had the pleasure of that. So um, now I'm looking more at kind of future technologies, next generation audio, like what's beyond surround and immersive, but as well as keeping in touch with what's going on with our kind of existing technologies, doing 5.1 and 7.1 and so on.
Brilliant, and apparently tinkering with engines too, judging by your background. But that's a conversation for another day. And over to Germany, Thomas, give us a brief intro, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thomas Kramer, and honestly, I have some very similar history in that market. I joined MainConcept also 2003 and 4, so roughly about the same time as James joined. So at our 20th anniversary just recently, which is quite nice. And yeah, we do have, as James said, very long kind of history together with Dolby as well. When I started at MainConcept, it was also very technical focused, but shifted into the product management and product kind of strategy part. And I'm now basically the part that is responsible for developing these plugins, because we acknowledge, certain kind of, trends in the market, and we do see that there's a need for special codecs in the workflows. And we try to make sure that they are seamlessly integrated. So my part is really the strategy and the business development of the MainConcept products.
Brilliant, thank you. 20 years, wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Are you having a party to celebrate?
Well, we did have at certain trade shows, so just shaked and yeah.
Oh, my invite must be lost in the post somewhere.
Sorry. For the 30 years then.
Yes. All right, so let's kick off with the basics first of all, and try and establish how, for our viewers and listeners, how these new plugins effectively turn things up a notch in terms of production efficiency when compared to the usual AC3 and EAC3 processes. James, do you want to take that first of all?
Yeah, so obviously the encoding of Dolby Digital and Dolby Digital Plus, and I think we should just clarify for users, there's two names at play here, which Dolby Digital is also known as AC3. AC3 is the technical name for Dolby Digital. Dolby Digital is the brand name that Dolby has used. Dolby Digital Plus is also known as EAC3. So those are the same thing. It's just EAC3 is the technical name. So it's what you'll find in standards and so on. So these have been licensed to kind of third parties for a long time, and a number of organizations have produced products based on our SDKs that are able to produce content in these formats for various applications. And these have generally been kind of bespoke products and for fulfilling a particular need. And with MainConcept, the DVD authoring products were really kind of important when the kind of DVD was taking off. Now, in kind of recent times, as people have done more and more with video and audio, that processing has evolved and so on. What's emerged is a number of frameworks in order to process audio and video and do it in a much more kind of flexible way, and bringing a lot of functions together which previously had to be in separate products, and so people had to kind of stitch them together themselves, and that's kind of clunky, makes for an awkward workflow. And FFmpeg is kind of probably the most well-known tool out there. I mean, it really is the Swiss Army knife of the broadcast industry, particularly on the video side. I mean, it has great video technologies integrated into it, and that's why it's so popular with the industry. So this is exciting because it's bringing together what we think is the best audio with the FFmpeg video technology.
The Swiss Army knife. I love that. I'm stealing that. I'm scribbling that one down. So obviously there's some big advantages with the upgrade, but can you sort of break it down why it is worth the upgrade and give us a kind of idea of how viewers maybe actually notice a difference in engagement with the Dolby enhanced audio?
Using Dolby audio as opposed to just a regular kind of stereo, let's say AAC stereo or whatever. Well, I mean, what the Dolby Digital and Dolby Digital Plus plugins give you is they give you access to surround sound, both in 5.1 and 7.1 formats for the end user. So, for example, if the end user has a TV or a soundbar that is equipped with Dolby Digital decoders, and the penetration is extremely high. I think it's almost inevitable. If you're buying one of those products, you will have Dolby support in them. Then you will get a more immersive experience than just stereo. The image is going to be wider, more defined. You're going to be hearing things to the side and from the rear of you. So if you're watching a movie or whatever, this is a better experience for the user, and this is well known, right? This has been in the market for decades now. It's been widely adopted, widely standardized. So I think the industry as a whole has recognized the value of surround sound, and actually is now going further, right? It's now gone to immersive, where you're hearing from height above you as well. So, but this is a first step, right? To get to immersive and to get to these new technologies which are coming out now, we first got to go to surround. So this is a great step in that direction.
Got it. Yeah, and as we know, FFmpeg is, it's already the backbone of many workflows. So Thomas, how does the integration with Dolby plugins streamline things further?
Yeah, that's exactly what the purpose of those plugins is. I mean, we all acknowledge, and as James said, it's the Swiss Army knife. We know that it's widely used. Everybody is kind of somehow really depending on the FFmpeg command line tool, let's say. And but it lacks some tools like the Dolby formats, for example, and also some of the professional, video formats as well. And at MainConcept, we just did acknowledge that, and we see, well, there is a need in this great tool. There's something that is missing there. So we fulfill this, we fill these gaps with our plugins, and this is something that we build over time. And just the latest enhancement really is this Dolby plugin for the new Dolby for those Dolby formats, and the simplicity really and the efficiency of just how easy it is to integrate these plugins with your existing workflow that you already have built on top of FFmpeg. It's just making this so simple to enhance your workflow with the new audio formats. That's exactly where I think, with those plugins, we've filled exactly that point where, okay, you need to enhance your workflow, but you can't really break it, or you can't really, completely change it.
Okay, and with FFmpeg being this Swiss Army knife, that is an open source tool that's widely used by a lot of users outside of the professional market. I'm curious to know how you can balance creating this professional and highly technical plugin while also ensuring that it remains accessible and relevant for the broader FFmpeg community. I'm not sure who wants to take that one. I'll just throw that out.
Well, it's probably the way that we're not changing anything in the existing FFmpeg pipeline. We're enhancing, we're adding on top, which is really the key point, that you can continue working into the experience that your teams, while setting up all these workflows, is already there. You don't really need to do any additional learning by just adding the new plugins. And that's the key point really of those things, that you don't break anything. You get to this, and so you're enhancing really without covering any kind of additional costs in that term where you have to do a new learning or documentation there.
Yeah, I mean, one big part of the value of this for kind of broadcasters and media organizations generally on the audio side is the guarantee that Dolby brings as far as the audio quality. Dolby spends a lot of time and money testing the consumer decoders, testing the encoders in all different products, across the board, right? So, if there's one TV that is doing something weird, that's a problem for us. It's a problem for Dolby. We spend a lot of time investigating these kind of corner cases and individual problems, and working with the vendors to make sure that all consumers get great experience. And so by using these, you're getting to access, you're benefiting, or the listeners, the viewers are benefiting from all that effort, work and expertise that's gone into producing these deliverables.
Okay, now looking a bit more at the sort of collaboration here, obviously Dolby's the big name. Some people in our audience may be less familiar with MainConcept, despite being now 20 years old. But yeah, of course, MainConcept has a very strong record in codec. So, Thomas, can you tell us kind of what MainConcept has brought to the table here, and how this partnership kind of shaped the final product, and how this experience makes the Dolby plugins even more powerful within the FFmpeg workflow?
Yeah, and I need to correct you. I mean, the company itself is over 30 years now. So my turn in MainConcept is 20 years. But yeah, we've been in the market for 30 years, and we actually had this celebration as well. So there was a lot to celebrate. Yes, and yeah, that kind of is where we've been. 30 years in. That's the market where we've provided video and audio codecs as a tool set for the market to build, workflows to build products in the technology for media production and for media broadcasting. And our long history together with Dolby really helped us to understand the needs from both sides, from three sides. Which one is, of course, from Dolby side. There's built-in AC3 and EAC3 technology in FFmpeg, but to James' point, this is not the guaranteed codec that can be used to make sure the user gets what really the Dolby format is about. So there were certain requirements from Dolby side as well. There's requirements from the customer sides when they already have a workflow for FFmpeg. That is something that we've learned over time with all of our products and understanding the customer workflows as well. And of course, the technology people. Integrating something is often kind of seen as a big step on engineering side. But with these plugins, it is not really an engineering effort anymore. You can enhance something without breaking and without actually having a big one. So with our long-term history, not only with Dolby, but also in the market for codecs and with the broadcast technologies, we've, I think, been very, beneficially advanced there, bringing in the technologies that exactly fit what the customers need.
Okay, James, do you agree that this is not an engineering effort anymore?
Uh, one thing about the collaboration that really was important to Dolby was trying to protect the IP, the IP that Dolby has in its codecs. Obviously with Dolby being an IP company and then trying to integrate technology into an open source um, project, and also an open source that has implementations of Dolby patented technologies that are unlicensed. This is a very challenging situation. And a lot of the collaboration between Dolby and MainConcept was on the legal side, trying to make sure that IP was protected and no proprietary code fell into the public domain. So which of these, this is kind of like it's kind of like a contradiction almost, trying to but trying to square a circle or circle a square. But credit to MainConcept, they did it, and I think it was important for Dolby actually getting going with this to partner with a company like MainConcept that has such a long history and is trusted by Dolby, right? Because this effort is not for the kind of faint of heart, right? So so it's that's been the heart of the kind of collaboration for us, and that's where the challenge has been. That's where the time has been spent actually as well.
How much time, out of curiosity? How long has this been in the works for?
Honest about that, it's been probably 4 or 5 years.
Thomas, I came in halfway, so it was a long time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a hell of a project. Okay. Yeah, that answer, James, kind of almost perfectly answered my next question. I love it when that happens. This being completely unrehearsed, of course. So, yeah, looking at the sort of applications now, where are we seeing or going to see the biggest impact for these plugins? Is it with live sports broadcasts? Is it with streaming platforms? Is it somewhere else perhaps that I haven't thought of yet, James?
Well, I think, can I pass that to Thomas? Because I think he's kind of closer to the kind of customers that MainConcept has and the market that they kind of sell into. But so, I guess just from Dolby perspective, Dolby Digital and Dolby Digital Plus are used widely across all those kind of areas that you've mentioned.
Yeah, there's definitely the two aspects. I mean, one is, you have support for the Dolby formats in almost every consumer device, so that makes it just the format to be, used for, which is great. And then there's of course the technology side, or the integration side for the customer. And we know FFmpeg is primarily used as a command line tool, but the nice thing about it, it's so flexible that it is, even though it's a command line tool, it is even, flexible enough to use with live streaming as well. So everything that you do there is for live and VOD use cases. However, on the integration point of view, you see applications with specifically for these Dolby formats, in my opinion, with the broadcast for this sports and entertainment. That's where you have a huge amount of audience, and those are actually benefiting from the enhanced kind of stereo surround sound with this kind of audience, where you have spectators, you have all the entertainment that you can leverage on the nice audio systems. So that's where I primarily see the uses of those plugins.
Okay, and I know this is early days, but do you have any specific case studies for these plugins? Any real world examples? Any kind of names that you can show off at this stage, or is it too early?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's too early, but we do actually work with a sports streaming platform that is in work for integrating that.
Okay, 4 or 5 years in the making, and it's still too early.
I'm pretty confident, we at Dolby, we've had lots of people coming to us and saying, hey, we use FFmpeg and we want to use your stuff with it, and so on. Really trying to find a solution to exactly the problem that MainConcept have solved. But of course, it's always the legal issues, and coming across that has been the kind of stumbling block. So I think there's a wide big I don't think MainConcept are going to have any problem getting customers for this.
I agree, and to be fair, these 4 to 5 years, as James said, have been a lot of legal discussions, which means we've there's many running gags internally at MainConcept because we've never expected really this in the end actually to happen and see the market, because it's just been so long and it was never really sometimes just not making progress at all. But we did promise that to customers for over all the years. So we've actually promised that and promised. But at some point, then the customer said, well, we just need it. And so that's why I think we just didn't tell customers, well, it's ready now, because we never really knew when. But now it's there, so we're happy that we can actually deploy the product.
Maybe we should do a sequel specifically on the legal aspect of this whole project. Whether anyone would watch that or not, I don't know.
Or whether I'm allowed to do it or not is another matter.
Yeah, let us know in the comments or in the feedback if you're watching this, if you want to see a legal sequel. Anyway, so I'm a lot more clued up on video codecs than I am on audio codecs, admittedly. But my understanding is that audio codecs evolve even slower than video codecs due to the higher demand for visual improvements, as I understand it. But what I want to know is what's on the roadmap for these plugins further down the line, as audio standards evolve and new formats emerge. You've already said it was 4 or 5 years in the making. So I'm a very impatient person. So another 4 or 5 years from now, what can we expect?
So one thing for me that's really kind of obvious with Dolby Digital Plus, the inclusion of Dolby Digital Plus with channel-based encoding, that's 5.1, 7.1, so on, is the move to Dolby Atmos, right? So Dolby Digital Plus or EAC3 supports encoding to deliver the kind of Dolby Atmos experience, so that's giving you the kind of height. This is a lot of broadcasters have either made the move to this or are looking at the move to this. Whenever we're working with a broadcaster on their facility or giving advice on workflow, how do we support Dolby Atmos? That's one of the kind of top questions that come up. Now, the audio inputs for that are a little bit different. For post, your production films and movies, you're talking about a large number of dynamic objects. And for live sports, it's a bit different. It's generally 514, so that's 5.1, but with 4 overhead channels, or maybe 2 in some cases. That's the kind of normal standard. That's what mixers are mixing in at the sports arena. Now, if you look at FFmpeg, the kind of pipeline, it doesn't, the formats that it supports, I reviewed this actually just for a couple of days ago. It doesn't include those formats yet. Now that doesn't mean to say that you can't make it work. You probably can, but the FFmpeg pipeline, audio pipeline itself, until that evolves and then it moves on to the more immersive formats, it does support 22.2, which is a special format that's championed by NHK, but it's got to support these more regular, conventional, immersive formats as well. I think there's going to be less value kind of going to Atmos, but I think as soon as that happens, then I would expect that to be an enhancement. The other obvious thing for us for Dolby is AC4, right? So AC4 is our new codec, which is more advanced than Dolby Digital Plus, has a lot more features. It supports personalization, a lot of features that we haven't got kind of time for here, but increased coding efficiency as well. So Dolby Digital Plus is half the bit rate of Dolby Digital. AC4 is significantly lower than that. And we're seeing in Europe, we've already got a couple of broadcasters live with AC4, and a lot of others are in the process. So that supports channel based as well, 5.1.7.1. So that seems like a really obvious route or evolution go to adopt AC4, at least for channel based, and then for the Atmos, which is both applicable to Dolby Digital Plus and Dolby AC4, then we've got to look at, well, the evolution of the audio pipeline generally.
Are those broadcasters public, or is that still secret?
No. Like France, what in terms of AC4? So France Television and RTVE Spain, they're live.
Okay. Any in the States?
Yeah, so for AC4, AC4 is the recommended, or actually no, mandated codec for ATSC3 for the next generation television system. So that happened way back quite a few years ago now. So that whole in North America, the whole industry is going through a transition from Dolby Digital, which was in ATSC 1.0, to ATSC 3, which uses AC4.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, as I said, audio is kind of a whole new world for me. I spend so much time focusing on the video element of things like ATSC3 that audio is often an afterthought. But Thomas, what about the kind of next stage of the collaboration between MainConcept and Dolby looking ahead? How do MainConcept and Dolby expect to keep these plugins ahead of the curve, as the broadcast and OTT industries evolve?
Yeah, I can definitely confirm exactly what James said. I mean, when we launched, as you said, these plugins right before IBC, obviously that was one of the big announcement and demos that we did there. We heard people saying, "Well, that's great. We got the official Dolby codec now in FFmpeg. We'll definitely use that. But what about Atmos, right?" So that was kind of the obvious next step. So everybody who was really excited about those plugins already asked for Atmos as well. So I'm very positive, since we've taken so long on the legal side, but this is solved. I'm very positive that the technical side is actually not taking that long, and we do already look into the Atmos pipeline and Atmos codec. So that is, I'm not promising anything, but it's definitely something that you will see next from us for the Dolby plugins, that there will be support for FFmpeg with the Atmos. Overall, of course, we're just starting with the product, which means, yes, we are taking, requests for evaluation. Customers can, get the copy of it, start playing around, and we're supporting them. So we make sure, as MainConcept has been over all the years, we have a full service, which means you get, the technical support person assigned, you get the integration. There is technical, and maybe I have to correct myself. There's something that you still need to do in order to add the plugin into your workflow, because you have to compile the FFmpeg to make the plugin work. However, we do have the support for it, so you don't actually have to do that yourself. You get our technical expertise with you assigned when you work on that, and that will be a smooth thing. So we've really not heard people complaining about it. It's a step that you have to check. So yeah, we do make sure that those are actually up to date with the codec formats that we already have. And we do also enhance that product line over the years with the new formats. Atmos coming next. We do look at AC4. We have everything, since our collaboration with Dolby is over so many years. So we're already partnering and discussing those next formats as well.
And just one sort of follow-up question to my kind of looking into the future crystal ball question is whether you think that the rise of immersive formats like Dolby Atmos might eventually push traditional stereo or even 5.1 systems out of the picture entirely, or will there be a place for both in the future? People might look at the hardware limitations, especially. James?
No, I think, stereo and 5.1 is so well entrenched that and I don't see it kind of going anywhere particularly, and that's fine. I think that that kind of transition is not so important as more as from a workflow kind of perspective, getting more kind of flexibility, right? So the problem with the audio workflows in the past have been that they've been really kind of fragile, and you have to pick something and kind of stick with it, because you don't have the ability to signal what it is that you've got. So you have to kind of choose that ahead of time. That's the case it's been with a lot of linear live traditional live workflows. So a lot of the work I'm kind of involved with outside this effort, but just generally, is working to a more kind of flexible system where you can offer a media package which has, say, different languages included, or it has an audio description. It isn't just one thing. It's a bundle of stuff, bundle of audio stuffing, and you've got the immersive option. You can do 5.1. You can kind of do everything. So it's, there's a lot of talk in the audio or the broadcast world generally about flexibility and agility. This is a theme that comes through everywhere, trying to organize the workflows and infrastructure to be able to adapt quickly to new business challenges. And I think in the audio side, we've kind of lagged on that, and trying to make up for lost time and having more flexible workflows. I think that's where the real evolution is in the industry.
Yeah, but it's probably the same question as, when you're more experienced, Tommy, in the video world, would you say MPEG 2 is being replaced completely because there's HEVC or whatever next is coming? MainConcept, to be honest, has many customers still using MPEG 2. It's a big portion of the MainConcept customer base, really, and we do support that and we do maintain that, and that's why MainConcept is different than other technology vendors. We keep and maintain these long relationship with our customers. And MPEG 2 is a big portion of that, really. So it isn't replaced, even though there's new technologies, which of course MainConcept is participating in as well. But our customer base is largely around MPEG 2 and HEVC and H.264, of course, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, H.264 is still 90% of all internet video traffic or something. Yeah. So yeah, great. I think that's probably a good time to wrap up. It'll be really interesting to put that same question to the Dolby lawyers in our next episode and see if we get a similar answer. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up on that one then, guys. That's it for the deep dive into Dolby and MainConcept's moves in the audio world. So a huge thank you to our guests James and Thomas for peeling back the layers on these plugins and sharing some insights that most people in the industry only wish they had. So if you want any more of these tech truths and trends delivered to your ears and your eyeballs, make sure to subscribe to the Faultline Podcast and Faultline Proper if you can afford it. Stay disruptive, stay curious, and remember that the next big thing in media is always one breakthrough away. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.